Good morning, guys, or good afternoon, or good evening to whenever you guys are listening to this. But we are on episode 3 of Extended Voice Memos, and I think I'm getting a hang of this. I'm still experimenting with how I'm recording this, so you guys are on my MacBook again. And yeah, I'm not sure how the audio is gonna turn out, so sorry if things are weird again, but bear with me, please. This is my last week in Berkeley before I'm moving back home. So that's really weird because I feel like I've only been here for a month, but it feels like so long. But then also time flew by really fast. But yeah, things have been kind of weird. I've just been trying to see a lot of friends before I go back, but then I'm also really excited to see everyone back home. So if we're gonna hang out, I'm so excited when I see you. And yeah, lately I've just been trying to get some work done, spending time with people. I've been cafe hopping a lot in Berkeley actually, and then I went to this one Vietnamese cafe. It was really good. And yeah. Oh, I got my helix downsized yesterday, which I've been putting off for so long. I got my helix done in March, and I think we were supposed to get it downsized after. I forgot how long. It was supposed to be in May, but I put it off for 2 months. So that was long overdue, but it feels so much better now because before it would the backing would always get caught on my hair. So it would be super annoying when I showered or whenever I tried to sleep, my piercing would always get caught on everything. So it's a lot less annoying now. But anyways, today I wanted to talk about all of my super random hyper specific interests. So I got this reel the other day about how being a generalist versus a specialist in today's society, and how it's how the career field is so competitive, right, in certain fields. So now it's become an advantage to be knowledgeable in a bunch of different niche things than to be the best at one specific thing, one really competitive topic, because the market is so oversaturated that it's gonna be so hard to be the best at one thing. Might as well just be really good, or be okay, or be knowledgeable about a ton of different things, and having these really unique insights and stuff is going to help you a lot more than being really good at one thing, which a lot of other people are really good at that thing. So yeah, and I agree with that because it's I think not only will it help you kind of be better, or be more well-rounded as a person, but I think it just helps you see the world a different way, and have a bunch of different perspectives to things. And I always go back and forth about my major and my career and everything, because I feel I'm just so interested in learning so many different things. And I'm always in this cycle of oh, we're so back, and then I'm what am I doing with my life? And then we're so back, and I'm what am I doing? And it's just this cycle over and over. And I would always get these random bouts of maybe I should switch my major and go into archaeology or something super random, because whenever I learn a small fact about anything, I get super interested in it for a really short period of time. For example, I would I don't know, go to the library or something, and then they would have this sign about how they redid their the pavement or something to help with runoff and to utilize rainwater, and I'm wow, that's really interesting. Maybe I should learn about city planning, or maybe I should learn about civil engineering. And then because also I love traveling, and I feel because since I was young, my parents were able to take me to a bunch of different places in Asia. For example, I've been lucky enough to go back home to the Philippines a lot. I've also been to Seoul, Tokyo, Bangkok, Hong Kong, but I was really young, so I couldn't remember much. But I feel being able to be this well traveled as a kid, it's made me appreciate urban planning, kind of, because I'm able to see how like different cities are built differently, and like how everything is so unique, and riding like different public transport systems. Like the public transport in Asia is so nice, and it really, like, I like to think about like how it works, and like how they're able to make it work differently from like the US, because the US, I feel like it's so spread out that public transport just like does not work that well here. Because for example, in, I don't know, some random city in Asia, like Tokyo, everything is so like compact because there's such like little surface area for buildings and like for people to live. Like everyone's just like, a bunch of people are in one very small geographic region, and I feel like that's why there's so many cities in Asia where public transport is able to work, because like everything is so compact. So, it's like people can get everywhere all at once. But anyways, I was talking to my mom the other day about how I just love like Asian cities and stuff like that. And then we were like, "Oh, I wonder if there's like any city in the US where the vibes are kind of similar to that, like similar to that busy like Asian metropolitan vibe." And then we were thinking, and we were like, "I don't really think so." Like if ever, I think the closest that you would get here is like New York. But that got me thinking, and it's like kind of weird because the US is so big. But then, is there like really not that many cities here, I feel like, or not that many like super busy compact city? But anyways, I would get like super interested in like these super specific things. I feel like if I didn't go into like CS and stuff and like engineering, I would want to go into like architecture or something, because like again, I love like looking at buildings and like looking at big buildings. But I say that about a bunch of different topics too. Like I've gone through so many phases of random experiences, and then I like want to learn more about them. Like for example, I go to like airports, and then I admire the architecture. Or like, for example, I saw this video of a guy reproducing the entire like Blonde album from Frank Ocean, and that got me like super interested into like music production and stuff like that. And then for example, like I went to the doctor for my knee because I tore my meniscus, and I didn't find out about it till like 1 or 2 years after it happened, because I thought that it was just a simple sprain. So I thought I sprained my knee doing martial arts, but and then I just like let it heal. Um and it was like fine, but then it would always relapse all the time, and I would just be doing like simple stuff, like simple jumps and rotations, and my knee would always relapse, and I'm like, what the freak? So I went to a doctor for my knee, and then he was like, yeah, you most likely tore your meniscus and didn't realize it. And then stuff like that. And then I'm like, oh, maybe I should have gone into like sports med or like physical therapy. And then I like go down this other rabbit hole, and I'm like, maybe I should have gone into like something wellness related, or like maybe I should have done like nutritional science, or like, what is it called? Maybe I should have become like a dietitian or something. Cuz I feel like I've always wanted to be like one of those wellness girlies, or like in the whole health and wellness space. And then I'm like, oh, you know what would be cool? What if I become like a Pilates instructor? That would be really fun. And then another thing is, like, for example, my cousins and we used to go stargazing sometimes in the summer, at night. I remember we went to like Mount Rainier, and then we drove to this one like lookout spot, and it was super pretty, and there were so many stars and like shooting stars, and it was just so cool, because I feel like living in like the suburbs, or like even the city and stuff like that, there's so much light pollution that like we almost never get to see like actually what the sky looks like at night. So that was like really cool for me when we went to Mount Rainier. Like I always remember that. So then I'm like, oh, why not become like a like aerospace engineer, or like why not study like space science or like astronomy, because like wouldn't that be cool? And then I remember like when I was a kid, I used to always I was like a big like a animal girly, and I loved going to the zoo, and I really liked dinosaurs also. So I'm like, why didn't I just go into like, I don't know, conservation science or like ecology or like climatology, because that's really interesting, and I've always been interested in like natural sciences like that too. And so there are just so many things that I want to do. Um and it's like, if I could do anything or like be anyone with no repercussions, or like if money was not a thing, or like if stability was not a factor, or even like if the time it takes to learn something, or the barrier to entry of certain things was not an issue, I would just like be everything all at once. Like, for example, I like have this whole list of like things I would want to learn, or things I would want to do if money or stuff like that was not a factor. But some stuff I put on my list, this has been running for like 2+ years, this list, by the way. Some stuff I put was like Pilates instructor, travel and food blogger, private chef, clothing designer, event planner, producer or like recording artist, a cafe owner, climatologist again, architect, marine biologist, film director, and it's just like so much random stuff. But also about the cafe thing, I think it would be so cute to like, I would always want to own this cafe, but not like serving Starbucks or like Black Rock type of drinks, because I've always like had this thing against these coffee chains where they always just serve like such sugary drinks and they barely even put coffee in it. And like growing up, my parents would always drink black coffee. So I think my first taste of coffee with them, it was black coffee. And then we would always have black coffee at home. And then my aunt, back home in Manila, she opened a cafe recently. And I remember before opening, she would take me to go like coffee tasting to find her suppliers. And it was just so cool because I remember we went to like this one place. It was like a cafe, but they also had like a roastery, and they were like a supplier for other cafes too. And then we booked this whole tasting thing, and it was like super fancy because they took out a bunch of beans and then they made espresso with like each type of bean. And like, I remember they gave us like a cup of espresso and like a spoon, and they're like, okay, spoon it into your mouth. And then they made us like taste just a little bit to get like all the flavors, and then they made us drink like sparkling water, like tonic water in between, to like palate cleanse between each type of bean. And that was so interesting to me because there were some coffees that I tasted that was like super like dark and like chocolatey and roasty, and then some which were like very light and fruity, almost like acidic, which I don't really like acidic coffee. Like almost like that, but not quite. And it was very light and refreshing. And it was like this whole spectrum of like rich versus refreshing coffee. And I did not know that coffee could taste like that. So that was really interesting to me. And yeah, anyways, I think that that, what is it called? Like chain coffee places, like like franchise coffee places just ruin everything. Because tell me why Starbucks coffee is so acidic. Like if you order like just the espresso stuff without, not like the flavored stuff, but just the plain coffee stuff, it tastes like really weird to me, and it like it makes my throat hurt. But anyways, I've always wanted to open up a cafe that makes quality coffee from like quality beans like that, because I find it really hard to find a good cafe that doesn't have like overly sugary drinks, and also that is like affordable and like approachable and stuff. So that's like something I would love to have in the future. It's like, have you seen those memes of like, oh, marry a rich husband so that you can open up a cafe that makes negative profit, but it's just for funsies, and it's like a cute little aesthetic thing. It's like one of those things. But yeah, so I have this whole like running list of things that I want to do. And it's like, it's kind of funny because I noticed they would always go back and forth between like wanting to do something creative or fun versus wanting to do something like STEM related and like something really nerdy that like it like tickles my brain, you know? And it's like, I feel like it's hard to find, like, if you want a job that kind of fulfills you, like mentally and stuff like that, it's so hard to find something like that because I feel like traditional jobs are just like very, like, hyper specialized, one thing, and then also another thing is like very kind of one or the other. And it's very hard to find something that like is both. And I feel like as humans, we all have a bit of both to us too. Like, I think that yes, everyone might be like inclined in some way to like be more creative or expressive, and then some people are like more like analytical and stuff like that. But I think everyone is like kind of, it's like a spectrum of everyone's a bit of a combination of both. But I feel like the job market or whatever, it kind of tries to box us into like one or the other because it's like that's how we're able to be most useful to the economy, I guess. Or I don't know. I'm just like spitballing here. But yeah, I like want to do all of these different things, and but then sometimes I would like go back home to Oregon and stuff, and then we would go hiking because Oregon has so much nature stuff, by the way. Like, I did not realize that the Pacific Northwest was so pretty till like moving out and then meeting people from different places. Like, we have mountains, we have beaches, rainforests, we have waterfalls and like deserts, and it's all in the same state. And it's like, I would always meet people who have never been to Oregon, and then they would be like, "Oh my gosh, I've always wanted to visit and stuff," and like, "Oh, something something like mountains and stuff," and I was like, "Oh, you know what? It's like a hour 30 drive from Portland to like Mount Hood or something like that." And they're like, "Wow, like that's crazy," because that is pretty crazy how the actual mountain is so close to the city. And then we have the beaches too, which is like just a few hours drive also. And I know like California is very pretty too. Like, when we moved down here for college, we went on this road trip. We went to like the redwoods, and then we drove down the coast also, and the beaches are super pretty and the coastline and everything. But I think there's just like there's a charm to like Pacific Northwest, like the mountains and like the rainforest, like the temperate rainforest here too. But anyways, like sometimes I'd be hiking back home and I'd be like in the middle of nowhere, like on top of Mount Hood, or like at some random hidden waterfall that like my friends and I we found randomly because we like went off the path. And then I would start thinking like it's actually not that deep, you know? And sometimes I'd be like, "Oh, why not just drop it all and live on a farm or something?" Yeah, because I think it's crazy how this society that we live in, I feel like this capitalist system is such a backbone for our society, where we spend like our whole entire lives, like from the moment we step into school to like, I guess when we die or something, or when we retire, we spend our whole entire lives trying to like get on top or like climb the ladder in this system. And we spend so much of our energy trying to become successful according to like our society's definition of success. I mean, like, for example, some parents, they specifically move to certain areas before they have their child because they know like the school system's better there, and then they like put their kid through like Kumon and like SAT tutoring and everything, just like to try to gain the system into getting into a good college. And then when you get into college, you're like trying to chase the most prestigious job. And I feel like society, it molds us like since from the moment we're born to like forever. It molds us into wanting to chase this very kind of specific definition of success, and it makes us want to like, I guess, climb the corporate ladder, stuff like that. And I feel like this whole system of like wanting to become rich and gaining status and everything, like all of these conventional ideas of success, at the end of the day, it's all man made. I mean, I feel like we have so many problems like related to money and status and fame and stuff, but then we take a step back and realize like, oh, we kind of like created our own problem, you know? But then also at the same time, it's kind of like, oh, but then if you were going to like go back all the way in time to like, I don't know, the ancient like civilizations, I mean, what else, like how else would you structure a society? You know, like sometimes I wonder, is this the only way that a successful society works? Is like to have these kind of like man-made definitions of success and stuff like that? Because how else would people run a society? That's something that I wonder sometimes. But anyways, it's just like I feel like there's um I feel like we're so focused on like this definition of success, and then we forget that it's all man-made, right? And like that we kind of created our own definition of success. And I think we forget that like at the end of the day, the universe just like does not really gaff what humanity does. Like the world just kind of exists, and it's really nice sometimes to just like go and leave the city and like clear my mind and take a hike or something. I sound so like granola girl right now, but yeah, it's really nice to just like leave and like forget about everything and just like clear my mind sometimes. But yeah, lately I feel like I've been trying to learn like a bunch of stuff about everything just for fun. Well, I think it's because it's summer and like I have more time to be doing whatever and like dilly dallying around. So I've been watching like a bunch of different videos on YouTube. Um, Again, like back to the cafe thing, I really want to learn how to make like high quality coffee and like how to make like different drinks. I think that like making drinks and like bartending would be super interesting because during COVID, like when I was younger, I would always try to make these home cafe drinks. Like I tried making um like sparkling espresso with yuzu, or like I made like a matcha tonic with calamansi, which is like a Filipino citrus fruit. Or I would make all these combos, and they were low key really good and they were fun to make. So that would be something that sounds interesting in the future. But anyways, I like recently I've been wanting to learn how to make like coffee and drinks and stuff. I want to try producing music. I don't know. Maybe after this I'll like get on GarageBand and play around with stuff. But it's cuz like growing up I've always done music in a way. I've played piano since I was like what, like 6 years old maybe? And then I like played the flute a little bit in 5th and 6th grade, and then I switched to violin and orchestra, and then I did that till senior year. And I feel like I've just been surrounded by music my whole life. Um, but it was very like I was very classically trained, you know, and I felt like music was very formal in a way because of that, like going to recitals and like practicing the same 2 3 pieces for a whole year to like perfect it, and like going to competitions and stuff like that. And like it's been really fun, and I do really love classical music. Like, okay, I feel like this is a side tangent, but I feel like I love like Russian romantic composers these days, like Tchaikovsky and like Rachmaninoff and stuff like that. They're just so like over the top and grand for no reason, but I love it, you know. But anyways, like I love classical music, but I think it would be really nice to like try to do something in music that is less like structured and formal. Do something in music that's like more chill, you know? So, yeah, I've been like kind of interested in learning how to produce music, or like I think it would be really cool to learn like electric guitar or to learn to play the drums. That would be super cool. But anyways, and then I was watching this YouTube series about game theory and like dating, and this guy was trying to explain like how game theory plays into like why there's a bunch of like gold diggers and incels in society. And I thought that was funny and that was interesting. Um, but I've also been like kind of into UI UX design. I've been learning how to use Figma these days. And yeah, I want to learn how to like do video editing and like cinematography and color grading and stuff. I think it would also be really cool to learn how to surf. Um, and then driving stick shift. That would be really cool. Because my dad used to drive manual all the time when he was younger. And then, like, my mom would always talk about him driving and stuff. But, anyways, you can see how, like, all my interests are super scattered and all over the place. But, yeah. I think that, like, even though society, I guess, is, like, kind of molding us to follow, like, a set career path and chase, like, I guess, a corporate ladder, I think it's still super important to pursue all of your varied interests, no matter, like, how random they are. Because something I've been thinking about lately is, like, since when did we have to start doing everything for our career? Like, why can't we separate our career from, like, just us as a human being and, like, our personal interests? Because, I mean, when we were, like, kids, we would just do things for fun, you know? And then somewhere along the line, we, like, I guess we started doing all our extracurriculars for college apps, and then now that we're in college, it's like we're doing everything to build our resume for the future, or, like, to network, or, like, to expand our skill set. And I'm like, oh, since when did this happen, you know? Like, when did we stop doing things just for fun, or just because we want to, or just because we're like interested in it? And I think if you start doing like a bunch of random things and pursuing random interests, I think people will say like you're wasting your time or effort, or like you could be using this time to develop like important career skills, because that's what some people have said to me about like making videos or like content and stuff like that. They're like, oh, why not just like use this to get like a tech internship or something, or like, you know, like do more CS related stuff. But it's just like, well, what if I'm just interested in it? And again, it's like that thing where you only live once, right? And I think it's low-key scary though for me to pursue like a bunch of different interests, because I'm always like, what am I doing with my life? Like, why am I doing all this random stuff where I feel like I'm putting in effort to learn stuff, but then, like, I don't really see any results because it's all kind of just for fun. And also, I feel like these random things that I'm interested in are, like, not related enough that I can use them towards, like, a future career or, like, an endeavor or something. So sometimes it's scary for me to put in, like effort and time into like a bunch of random things instead of following like the set thing where like, oh, do like a bunch of leak code problems, or like, oh, make like a personal project, and like, because I know of people who dedicate like their whole life before recruiting season, and they spend like hours and hours every day like just lead coding, and like that's all they do when they're free. And I'm like, sometimes it's scary where I'm like, oh, if I'm not doing that, am I like falling behind, or like am I just like a hot mess and I don't know what I'm doing? Like, am I just not focused enough, or do I just not want this bad enough? You know what I mean? It's like harder as you get older because you can't just like compare against other people like a blueprint for how to live your life, because there is no set pathway anymore for how to live. And sometimes it's hard for me. It's like I'd be like, oh, am I working hard enough? You know, like, am I trying hard enough in life, I guess? But I think there is no, like, at the end of the day, there is no standard that you can, I guess, compare yourself against for, like, am I trying hard enough in my life? Because, like, for example, oh, you could be not, like, focusing as much time on school, but maybe like you don't know that it's because, oh, someone's like trying to support their family, or like someone's trying to work more or something like that. Or for example, the other way around, where someone could be like taking a bunch of classes or like doing a bunch of stuff academically, but then people don't know, oh, it's because like their parents like supported them, or like they're able to support them, so that the only thing they need to focus on is academics. And then it's like another thing where, oh, maybe someone is like not doing that much, like not that busy, but then some people like might not know, oh, it's because maybe they're like going through stuff and like struggling with mental health. And I think it's just very hard to like, you can't really compare people, and you can't really see like, oh, is this person like trying hard enough in life? Because there's just like way too many things going on now. You know, it's not just like as simple anymore as when we were younger, where all you have to really do, or like ideally all you have to do is like go to school and like go to like your sports practices and then go do homework and then go home and stuff like that. So I'm trying to like lean more into this mindset these days of not necessarily like comparing myself against a standard, but more kind of like being super honest and reflecting with myself, like, am I trying my best, and like, am I doing my best? And I think if I'm trying my best, and if I know that I'm like genuinely putting in effort into like getting towards what I want to do, even if like I'm not entirely even sure yet what I want to do, I think it's okay, you know. I think at the end of the day, if you do your best, then like you're gonna get somewhere. Like, I don't know where somewhere is, but you're gonna get somewhere. And I think even if you're doing a bunch of like random things, like unrelated, random, like maybe some people will think you're like super distracted or not focused in a certain like career goal. I think at the end of the day, it's like, it's whatever, you know? I think maybe it's more of a personal fulfillment thing, instead of like a career development thing. If you want to learn a bunch of different things, just like go for it. You know, if it makes you happy, just go for it. And I think, yeah, like learning should make you happy, because there is just so many things, like so many different things about the world that you could be interested in. And there is so many like interesting things about the world. And I think that like at the end of the day, if you find like a specific way of learning that you enjoy, or like find specific things that you like to do, that learning is like fulfilling. And I think it can keep you sane to just learn whatever you want to learn, regardless of if that is related or not to what you want to do in the future. Just like learn for personal fulfillment and like enjoyment, you know? And like I saw another reel, and it was like, oh, the effort you spend on learning different things, even if it doesn't immediately get you anywhere, it's not wasted, because it shows up in different ways. like being able to have convos with all different types of people, or like having an intuition or like a taste for design or like for life or for anything. And I think just pursuing different interests helps you see the world in different ways and just makes you a more interesting person. So just go learn stuff for the love of learning, because I think at the end of the day, if you find something you're interested in, learning will be fun. And maybe school is not fun, and I know school has not been fun for me sometimes, or for other people sometimes. I mean, it's a up and down thing, but I feel like learning and school are not related at all. Like, you could be learning a bunch of stuff outside of school, like stuff that you're personally interested in, or you could just like not learn anything in school, because the way the school system is, you're just like trying to game the system and trying to like, I don't know, memorize or like get the best test scores, and not actually like doing stuff that you're interested in. But I think that learning, like real learning, is fun at the end of the day if you do something that you're interested in and you're doing it for the right reasons. So yeah, just go out and like find something that you're interested in and just pursue it, because you only live once at the end of the day. So that's it for today. I did not realize that I was yapping about this for almost 40 minutes. But yeah, I really need to start packing all my stuff to go back and leave. And this is crazy because I'm like going back home soon, and then I'm spending like 4 days at home, and I'm leaving for Portugal for study abroad, and I have barely learned any Portugal. I feel bad because I told myself that I would like Duolingo every day, Portugal, for like 2 months before going, but I got like busy with finals, and then I forgot about it, and then I just like started putting it off, so I've barely learned anything. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, I will update you guys on Portugal and study abroad and everything, but thank you for listening.